Number 15 is a great example of a question that you just cannot get wrong. The strategy is pretty straightforward. You have a bunch of points in this chart and a bunch of equations in the answer choices. So this question is screaming at you to use one of the most important strategies from the SAT, which is to plug points into equations. So if you're trying to think about this logically, about which equation matches this pattern of points, you're doing this wrong. Just take the easiest point and test it out in all the equations. So the easiest point is definitely going to be where x is 1, because it just makes a lot of the arithmetic much easier. So just be methodical here. Go through every single choice. So in choice A, we have 1/2 times 5/2 to the first. And 5/2 to the first is just 5/2, so that doesn't even need to do anything. And so it's just 1/2 times 5/2, which is 5/4, not 11/4. So just like that, choice A is gone. And I'm using arithmetic here because I don't think that you really need to worry about complicated math. But remember, this is the calculator section. So if fractions really bother you, you can use your calculator. But honestly, I think that is much riskier. There's a higher chance of you entering that wrong than there is of just doing this right on the paper if you know your rules. So if we keep going right here, it's going to be very methodical. 2 times 3/4 to the first. 3/4 to the first is just 3/4. So that's 2/1 times 3/4, which is 6/4, which reduces to 3/2, which is not 11/4. So doesn't work in choice B either. Keep going. 3/4 of 1 plus 2 is just 3/4 plus 2, and we should make 2 into a number of fourths as well if we really want to add this. So that's going to be multiplying by 4/4 to get a common denominator. And so 3/4 plus 8/4 is indeed 11/4. But before we pick C, we need to be thorough here. We should try D, just to see what happens. And sure enough, when we do, 7/2 times 1 minus 3/4. Well, again, we need a common denominator. So 7/2 is just going to be, if we multiplied by 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom, we're going to get to fourths. So that's 14/4 minus 3/4, which is also 11/4. So this is very common. The SAT likes to make the first point, the easiest point, work in multiple answer choices. But if we expect them to do this, then it's not really a big deal when it happens, because we can just choose a new point. And quite frankly, we have done a lot of good work here. We got rid of 2 choices, so this was already worth our while. Now we should just pick the next easiest point. So in this case, 2 and 25/4. We're just going to try that in choices C and D. And as always, show your work. So 3/4 times 2 plus 2. So that's going to be, we can reduce as we go. So the 2 on the top is going to reduce the 4 there to make it actually just 3/2 plus 2. And again, we should get common denominators, and we get 3/2 plus 4/2, which is 7/2. So that is not what it should be. It should be 25/4. So it's probably D, but again, it's safer to be thorough. It doesn't take us more than another 30 seconds to just test it out. So 7/2 times 2 minus 3/4. Okay, well, the 2's cancel out really easily. That's 7/1 now minus 3/4. We can multiply by 4 on the top and 4 on the bottom to get a common denominator, and that is 28/4 minus 3/4, which is 25/4. So now we've proven choice D. So it looks like it's a lot of math, but I want to stress that the strategy makes this really simple, because we know that the plug points into equation strategy is very just robotic. There's not a lot of thought here. If you have points and you have equations, plug the points into the equations. It's really that simple. And if you didn't like all this arithmetic, you could have used a calculator and you should have gotten the exact same choice. This is a question that, because of the strategies and because all it takes is being thorough, you should be able to guarantee yourself 10 points for this question.